Woman with Birthmark by Håkan Nesser. Translated by Laurie Thompson and read by David Timson. And then, of course, there is a certain type of action that we can never leave behind us, nor buy ourselves free from. Perhaps we can't even beg forgiveness for such deeds. W. Klimke, Therapist. 1. 23rd of December to the 14th of January. Chapter 1. She felt cold. The day had started with a promising light snowfall, but as lunchtime approached, the strong wind blowing off the sea had transformed the precipitation into diagonal driving rain of the very worst kind. It chilled you to the bone, forced the stall owners down by the harbour to shut up shop hours earlier than usual, and in Zimmerman's bar they were serving about 3 times as many hot toddies as on a normal December day. To make matters worse, the cemetery was facing southwest, on a gently sloping, treeless hillside, totally exposed to every kind of weather and wind. And when the little group finally reached the newly dug, muddy grave, one of those thoughts struck her. At least it was sheltered from the wind, down there. There was no need to take the wind and this damned rain with you into the grave. Every cloud has its silver lining. The clergyman snuffled, and his accomplice, or whatever you should call him, struggled with the umbrella. Tried to make it cover both the man in black and himself, but the gusts were capricious, and the correct angle shifted from second to second. The bearers dug their heels into the soaking wet soil and started to lower the coffin. Her bouquet on the lid already looked a mess, like a dollop of vegetables that had boiled for too long. One of the bearers slipped, but managed to regain his balance. The clergyman blew his nose and started to read the liturgy. His accomplice fumbled with the spade. The rain grew even worse. It was typical. She couldn't help acknowledging that, as she clenched her fists in her overcoat pockets and stamped on the ground in an attempt to warm up her feet. Absolutely bloody typical. A ceremony just as shambolic and undignified as the rest of the dead woman's life had been. So she couldn't even be granted a decent burial. The day before Christmas Eve. A patch of blue sky, or the light snowfall lasting into the afternoon, would that have been too much to ask? Would that have been too much trouble? Of course it would. Her mother's life had been littered with defeats and messy failures. To be honest, all this was both fitting and expected, and she felt herself having to bite her lip so as not to burst out crying. A totally consistent and logical conclusion, then. In the same key all the way through. And no crying. Not yet, in any case. For some confounded, inscrutable reason, her mother had urged just that. Don't cry. Whatever you do, don't stand there blubbing at my funeral. Tears have never been any use in any circumstances, believe you me. I've sobbed bucketfuls in my lifetime. No. Do something, my girl. Take action. Do something magnificent that I can applaud up there in my heaven. She had squeezed her daughter's hand with both her own chafed and weak hands as she said that, fixed her with her dying eyes, and it had become clear that for once this was serious. For once her mother had begged her to do something. It was a bit late, and the wording was hardly crystal clear, but there could be no doubt about what she meant. Or could there? Half an hour later she was dead. Do something, my girl. Take action. The clergyman fell silent, looked at her from under the dripping umbrella, and she realized that he was expecting her to do something as well. What? It wasn't easy to tell. It was only the second time in her life that she had attended a funeral. The first time she had been 8 or 9 years old, and she was there for her mother's sake on that occasion as well. She took several cautious steps forward, stopped a safe distance short of the grave to avoid the farce of slipping and joining her mother down below.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?